everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I am Kristen, the owner of Tink's Magical Vacations, and we'll wait for a few of you guys to come on. When you come on, say hi, let us know where you're joining us from. And I am joined tonight by some fabulous agents that we have here at Tink's Magical Vacations. And I will let them start introducing themselves. Megan, would you like to say hello to everyone this evening?
Sure. I'm Megan. I am a senior travel planner here at Tink's Magical Vacations. I'm very happy to be chatting about the dining plans again.
Excellent. Mindy, it does look like you're frozen, but would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Hi, I'm Mindy. I'm also a senior travel planner and exciting new changes ahead.
Awesome. And we have Nick with us. And for those of you who do know Nick, Nick does do the Tink's Magical Vacations podcast. So welcome back, Nick.
Yes, great to be back. My name is Nick Rosso. I am also a travel planner with Tink's Magical Vacations. And yes, very excited to be talking about the upcoming 2024 Disney Dining Plan. And for those of you that do listen to the podcast, actually our next episode is just in regards to the Disney Dining Plan. So we're very excited to be launching that. It'll actually drop tomorrow, so be sure to check it out.
Excellent. And last but definitely not least, we have Kara. Kara, say hello to everyone.
Hi, everybody. I'm excited to be here talking about the Disney Dining Plan.
Awesome. So again, let us know where you guys are joining us from. And if you have any questions about the Disney Dining Plan, please drop them in our comment sections and we will do our very best to get them answered. So without further ado, I am going to start. We'll jump right into the Disney dining plan. So we all know that, well, not everybody knows, but that Disney has announced that dining plans for 2024 are coming back. Megan, tell us a little bit, how can we add those? Like, can we just buy tickets and add them? Like, what are the requirements first before we dive deep into the dining plan details?
Sure. So in order to add a dining plan to your vacation, you will need to have a Walt Disney World package, and it will need to have a resort and tickets. So unless you are a pass holder or a military guest, you will be required, like I said, to book a package that includes resort and tickets, and that is a change from the past. While you are able to book just a resort only, you are not going to be able to add that dining plan to that resort only booking.
So we do need to have tickets. And I know we've gotten this question already this week. How many days of tickets do I have to add to my package? If I only have 3 nights and 3 days tickets, can I still add the dining plan?
Absolutely. So any package that you book, you will need to book at least 2 days of tickets. But then as long as you have those 2 days or more, you're able to book that dining plan.
Excellent. So I know there's 2 different kinds of dining plan. Mindy, can you tell us what are the names of these 2 different dining plans that we're seeing being offered in 2024?
So there is a quick service dining plan, and there is just what they call the dining plan. I would refer to it as the regular dining plan.
It's the regular dining plan.
Yeah, the quick service is going to include 2 quick service meals vouchers for each night of your stay, and 1 snack voucher for each night of your stay. And each person in your party will get a resort reusable refillable mug. And on the regular dining plan, you'll get 1 quick service meal voucher, 1 sit down meal voucher, again 1 snack voucher, and the reusable mug. The cool part about that is the vouchers are not assigned to one person. So if you have somebody in your party that's eats like a bird and somebody that needs more food, you just have this pool of vouchers and you could use them on anything.
On anything. Great. That was a great.
I'd like to chime in too for a second.
Yeah.
That reusable mug, I am a big fan of the reusable mug. I don't know how the rest of you feel, but that's something my kiddos would use all the time. Megan and I spoke about this at length on the podcast. So I highly suggest take that for what it's worth. The mug is a great thing.
Well,
Absolutely.
the mug is a lot of times that puts the dining plan over the top when it comes to trying to figure out if it's affordable enough. That mug, people don't realize the value of it. It basically will pay for
Absolutely.
your coffee in the morning, your sodas and water later in the day. I mean, you fill it up while you're at your resort. You can take it into the park once it's full with you. So
Correct.
I agree with you,
Great
Nick. It's a great thing.
Yeah, and those drinks in the coolers at your resort, I mean, they're not cheap. You go ahead and get a 20 ounce, whatever it is, 16-ounce soda in there. You're paying a decent amount of money. That mug has significant value, if you ask me.
Yep.
Well, and we
And
talked about this too, Nick, with the kids. They drink like half the cup and then
Yeah,
it just sits there. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that. You dump it out, you go get them more
you
with that refillable
rinse it
mug.
out. We were refilling that thing with lemonade and fruit punch time and time
Right.
again. I'm telling you, it
Right.
was big for our kids. So that I highly encourage you. Then we actually bring it back home. We've got a few of them in the cabinet.
makes
I
a
feel like,
great souvenir.
yeah, it's a souvenir. Exactly that. I'm pretty sure all of them have the years on them too. I'm not mistaken, I think. So it is a nice souvenir. I highly encourage you guys to take advantage of that mug.
And Carrot, can you tell me? I know we've gotten this question as well. It was sent in ahead of time. Can we only get a non-alcoholic beverage, or are we able to get an alcoholic beverage?
I believe adults that are of age are able to get an alcoholic beverage at a sit-down restaurant, and I think potentially Megan or Nick can correct that, but I'm pretty sure it's allowed with the sit-down dining.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I can confirm. Correct.
Perfect. What is the cost? Can one of you guys tell me what's the cost for the quick service as well as the regular dining plan? What is it per person? Is it per family? How does this work?
I can
It's
chime
per
in
Yeah,
here.
Megan's good on this. Megan
No,
T.
I can chime in. So the way that it works is that your credits are per person per night of your vacation stay. Each night for the quick service plan is going to be $57 per adult and $24 per child. These are estimates. There's a little bit of change in there. We've rounded up. For the dining plan, or what we're calling the regular dining plan, that does go up to that $94 per adult and about $30 per child. And again, that's because that dining plan includes your table service dining. Now, I want to jump in here and talk about real quick how this isn't a value plan. This isn't a way to like save tons of money off of all of your dining. I like to consider this a convenience plan, right? We'll talk about later, I think, a little bit more about is it worth it? But that's one thing to remember is that we can break this down until we get to the smallest little, drink. So don't let those numbers sort of scare you. You really want to look at the bottom line.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
And can somebody tell me, how does it work? I know Mindy and Nick were talking about that everybody gets the credits, but what do I show? Can I do they give me a card, a magic band? Like, I'm a newbie. What do I need to know about this dining plan that's been added to my package?
Well, first things first, I can chime in on that a little bit, Kristen. First things first, you want to keep track. Megan and I were big on discussing this on the podcast. Remember, it's per night, right, Megan? Per night of stay. Some people feel like, well, if they're buying a package and they've got 3 park tickets, right, 3 days at the parks, but they're staying for 5 or 6 nights, keep in mind you're getting those nights worth of credits, right? So you can utilize those, and that's a big deal. Some people might think going into it, well, if I'm only going to be at the parks for 3 days, then I'm only getting 3 days worth of dining plan. Not correct. We're getting the nights, right? However long your package includes for total amount of nights, that's what you're getting for credits. And another part that I think that was really important that we discussed was how you can, it's not, doesn't have to be used on the person, on one single person. You can kind of shift those credits around. So if, for example, if I've got a boatload of credits and I say, you know what, I don't need all these snacks, I can give them to my kiddos and let my kids use my snacks. They don't have to go directly all to me. I think that's something also to take into consideration. I don't probably eat as many snacks in the parks as my kids do. They're always asking for something. So I think there's some real value there, knowing that you can shift them around. I like that.
Excellent.
But also, Kristen, in answer to your question before, if you have magic bands, your dining plan and your vouchers will be right on your magic band. And
Okay.
they'll also be on, I personally don't use a Magic Band. I have my tickets and everything on my phone. So I can scan my phone because it's all electronic. So it's going to be on your My Disney Experience account. So whatever is, if you buy a dining plan, it is hooked to your account.
Perfect. Easy enough. Sounds super easy. Now, Kara, about how many restaurants? Like, are there only a handful of restaurants that I can use this at, or is it pretty much park wide and, Disney Springs wide?
Yeah, so Disney has the ability to change the listing that's available at any time. But as of right now, there are over 200 options that are available to be used with these credits.
Okay, great. And are some of these dining locations, do they utilize more than one credit, or is everything just one credit?
Yes, there are some dining locations that require 2 credits. A couple of examples are Cinderella's Royal Table at Magic Kingdom, or Space 220, I think maybe one of the ones that's using 2. But there are a few that will require more than one, and then there are a few that are not participating in that listing.
Great.
I also think an important thing to add in here is that for people that aren't familiar, these are not credits just to be used in the parks. As Nick said, they're linked to your per night stay. They're to be used all over the property, including at some participating restaurants in Disney Springs. So just remember these, 200 venues, that's a lot of different places that you have to use this. So, you're going to find something that you're never going to not, find a place that you're like, oh, they don't take my credits. There will be plenty of options that will take these credits.
100%. I'm going to chime in on that too, Megan, not to interrupt you, but I lose my train of thought quick. So here's what I'll say to that. Disney is big on making sure, right, that when they offer something like this, that it's available nearly, I would probably say you're upwards of 90% plus of their locations. The last thing they're going to do is say, we're going to offer something like this, and just so you know, it's available at 15% of our restaurants. 2 things would happen. 1, they wouldn't sell it, and 2, those 15% of the restaurants would be absolutely booked. Nobody would ever be able to get into it. So that's not going to happen. And for those of you that remember how the last dining plan worked, they did a great job, at least in my opinion, of making it very easy to understand the amount of credits. You could see usually there was some stickers, right, that identified right there, yes, we're participating. You could see it right there, and it would say we take X amount of credits. And I would imagine Megan and I were kind of discussing this. We're guessing it's going to be very similar. They're going to be doing the same thing again, and you're going to see probably those notification stickers all over the place telling you that a lot of restaurants going to be participating.
And you'll also see them in your My Disney Experience when you're making your dining reservations. It says right under the description for the restaurant whether they participate in the dining plan.
Great point.
Yeah. And I think the most helpful time that those stickers are is for the snacks, right? Because there are a few snacks that they don't include. I'm sure it's specialty, this, that, and the other thing. But if you walk around the parks and you're just not sure, there'll be, it was a square, purple little square, right? Last time, there'll be something similar. But like Mindy said, you can definitely make plans ahead of time for what is going to, who's going to take what, so that you can sort of plan ahead of time.
Right. And you make a good point on the snacks, right? I mean, is a bucket of popcorn and Mickey ear bar, they're not necessarily the same thing, right, in value. So you would imagine either one might not participate, or if it does, maybe it takes 2 snack credits.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And now we get this question a lot. Is it worth it?
For the most part, I would answer yes, but you can figure that out. When you're doing first of all, you do not have to add the dining plan when you first book your package. You can actually add it later on. So don't think that, I booked my package and now I can't have the dining plan because I changed my mind and I want it. You can add it. It's not a big deal. But when you do go to do your dining, there's many websites on the internet that will tell you approximate prices of entrees and things. You can actually calculate, like, okay, I'm going to go here. And if I go here, I would order X, Y, and Z, and I'm allowed to have this on the dining plan. So what would it cost if I bought it a la carte? And just add up the components And don't forget to add that resort refillable mug, because that is a component of your dining plan, and it would cost you money if you had to buy it on its own. I don't even know if they're selling them on their own, but they do have a value ascribed to them. And you may find that you're not saving hundreds of dollars, but 9 out of 10 times when I do that for a client, they are saving something. And then just to add the convenience of having it and not having to worry about, hey, look, all I have to do at the end is leave a tip. Everything's paid for already. I don't have to worry about having the funds on my account to pay for the dining, or having this huge credit card bill when I get home for all the meals. I paid for everything for my trip ahead of time.
Well, and I'll chime in there too, in terms of, if you don't want to go to all the trouble of like breaking it down and figuring out if it's going to work, right? Not everybody has the time, and sometimes you don't know what you're going to eat, right? I kind of sum it up like this. If you think you're going to go to a couple of character meals, or you're a foodie and really like signature, those fine dining experiences, and your kids like snacks and soda, you will probably come out ahead, right? And like I said, it is a convenience. It's so easy to know, okay, this is how much we're paying in food. We will be able to maximize that once we get into the parks, and like when you said, it's so flexible. If you really get right down to it, you're at that 30-day mark and you don't feel like, okay, we haven't booked a bunch of table service, or we're not going to do this, it can be removed, actually, right? It can be added at any time. It can be removed right before that 30-day mark. So I kind of feel like it makes your vacation feel a little bit more all-inclusive. I think it also allows the parents to have a better time, a more relaxed time. You're not constantly adding up all the snacks and saying, oh my God, not another Mickey bar. It's going to melt all over you. You're allowed to have, yes, get the snack. Doesn't matter, just get it again. Right. So I see it as a huge convenience factor. And, this is a vacation, remember that.
Now, is gratuity included in the dining plan, or should I plan to give an additional amount to my server?
It's not included.
Okay.
It's not included. Yeah, gratuity. We go into this in great detail on the podcast. You absolutely have to be prepared to leave a tip, a respectful tip, just as if you were paying in cash.
Okay.
There are 2 exceptions to that I did.
Minus 2 exceptions.
Discover. Right. Minus 2 exceptions. Tips everywhere except for Cinderella's Royal Table and Hoop-Dee-Doo Review. For whatever reason, they are including it. That is part of the deal. So
perfect. Now, the ultimate question that we have all been asked in the last week: are there any free dining promos?
Not yet.
Not yet. A big no?
No.
And what happens if I have dining already added on my package and a free dining promo comes out? What happens then?
Then your Tinks Vacation Planner will go and reprice your package if it's available to be repriced, and say to you, this is what I can get you, or this is what I can't. Disney when they come out with these dining promos, they put restrictions on them, and they're not for all rooms. You have to go each time. There are different restrictions. If we go in and try to price the room you have now and the tickets you have now and put the free dining in, sometimes it won't come out that you get it. So if you're somebody that's flexible and you're willing to say, hey, I was staying at the Contemporary, but if I really want this free dining, I have to stay at the Polynesian, and there's availability there. You have to be flexible enough to say, okay, I'm going to move because I want to get the free dining, but we'll do everything we can to get it for you.
Okay. Great.
And I just want to mention a little thing here too. A lot of times when they release that free dining, they also release a room only promotion. I think we've all seen that happen several times. And there are definitely times where the free dining is not the best way to go. Again, you want to look at the bottom line, right? So right. Yeah, is it kind of cool to say that I'm getting my dining for free? I guess, but what if the bottom line cost is cheaper if you took the room promo? So that's another thing that your travel planner can really help you work through.
Megan, I agree with that. I've had so many clients that they call me up. I want the free dining. I want the free dining. And then it's like, but I can get you a better deal with the room promo. But then I don't
Right.
get free dining. They, like, for some reason, they have this free dining in their head, and it's all they're focused on. I said, if I get you the free dining, this is what it'll cost you. If I get you the room promo and you pay for your dining, it's costing you $400 less. Which do you want to do?
Right.
And,
So that again, that's why it's important to book with a Tinks vacation planner, because you guys are going to break it all out for them and be able to get them the best deal possible.
100%.
We do have some questions from Allison this evening. What are 2 things you like about the dining plan, and 2 things, if any, that you aren't happy about? Anybody want to say the 2 things that they like about the dining plan?
Well, I'll dive in here. My favorite thing is the snack credit. As I've mentioned before, I don't know, I have kids that like to snack, and I, for whatever reason, get really hung up on the price of snacks because I know they're not going to finish them. So that is my favorite thing. Ironically enough, the least thing that one of the things that I didn't like was that there were 2 snacks before, because it was too many snacks, but they took it away. So we're good. So we're good there.
And
I can chime in on that for a second too. In regards to the snacks, I actually love when they give us an allowance, right? Because it actually allows me to tell my kiddos, listen, here's your credit, right? Use it wisely. Because I feel like without the dining plan and without the credits, they're asking for snacks left and right. I mean, we're on like the 5th snack today, where I can kind of go into the vacation and they feel like they're getting an allowance, right? Here's going to be our 1 snack for the day. And every time they pass, I'm thinking, do you want to cash in type of thing? Because this is it. And I think that helps me a lot as a parent, right? Especially when it comes to the budgeting part. And the kids kind of enjoy it too, walking around with this idea that they have these credits in their pocket. So I'm a big fan. I love, like I said, one of the things, if I have to go back to one of the things that I absolutely love, is that they all, everybody's credits don't have to be used on themselves, right? That you can shift them and move them around. I think that's a great thing. Whether or not there's enough credits, Allison asked what I don't like. To be determined. We do eat a lot in Disney, and there's a lot of restaurants we enjoy, specific sit downs. I'm wondering whether or not there will be enough for a family the way that we like to travel and eat. So to be determined on that. To be determined.
I will tell you, one of the things that I always help my clients do is sort of budget their credits, especially since you have to make those table service reservations in advance. So you know exactly what you're going to need, right? So you can sort of take those and bank those credits and say, okay, well, we're not going to touch this. This is what we have left over. And then I sort of would help them say, okay, so you need, you have, let's just say all your lunches are booked. So now I would hold off and maybe save some of all the quick service for dinner, or, whatever it is. And then like you did with your kids, budget the snacks. Now, it used to be that there were so many that, I actually used to say, get as many as you want because you're never going to use them all. But now with 1 credit, you might want to budget as well.
Plus,
Correct.
you asked 2 things that they really like. I like, but big thing for me is convenience. Okay. And of course, we've spoken about it before, that resort reusable mug. There's really just one thing that I don't like about it, is when you have the sit down dinners, you get an entree, a dessert, and a drink. Once upon a time, the dining plan used to let you get an appetizer and an entree and a drink. I wish they would go back to that, because when I'm in the parks, I have my snack to get something sweet later in the day or during the day sometime. I don't usually get dessert at dinner. So
that's a good point.
I always thought it would be cool too if they were able to design what, for your family, right, for whichever dining package you choose to purchase, if they were able to design what gratuities would look like, and you could prepay them. Almost as if, like we do on the cruise, right? So that way I could know going into it that I don't have to worry about that, and that all my my tips are already paid for as well. I would feel good about that too. Maybe if that's something worth exploring down the road.
I do think that when you get, if I recall, when you get your receipt, they do give you how much everything was worth. Is that, am
Yes,
I
I think they do.
remembering?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
I agree.
So
Yeah,
it should be right.
Something.
So, well, but that is a good point, so that you know how much to tip on. So they do make it easy in that sense. Do they?
They
No,
do.
it's not front loaded. But I also want to point out that while you may feel like only one quick service, one table service, well, where's my third meal? There's a lot of food at these sit down, right? And
Right.
especially when you use them for a buffet. Nobody has ever gone hungry in Disney, as far as I know, right? So,
Just broke.
right, yeah. So while it's not 3 distinct meals, it is more than enough food. I personally like to recommend to my clients to make sure you have some handheld breakfast, quick to go items, right? Because you're trying to get out the door real fast. And that pretty much covers you for the morning and then, lunch and then dinner. That's all you need. It's hot
Also,
and you're walking around and, it's enough food.
Megan, what a lot of people don't, there are 2 things that a lot of people don't even realize. And it's funny because you think sometimes you would think it was common sense. A lot of amusement parks don't let you bring in your own food and drink, but Disney does. So,
Great point.
There's a lot of delivery services, Amazon, you can have things delivered to your hotel. You can get a box of granola bars, boxes of the little cereals. I mean, you can have that delivered to your hotel and you'd have breakfast taken care of. There's a lot of places that deliver like baked goods if you wanted them. Ask your Tinks planner. They know all those different vendors. Another thing I've gotten as a question, and when it was first asked, I thought it was a weird question, but then I can understand why people get confused. They wanted to know, well, if I use up all my vouchers, am I allowed to buy other meals? Absolutely, of course.
Interesting.
But if somebody was just so intensely focused on those vouchers, they thought the only way they could eat is if they had a voucher because they bought the dining plan.
Right. No.
I had that question come through, Mindy, and some people say too, if they maybe only want to do one table service, you can still add the quick service option and then pay out of pocket like you normally would for that character meal or whatever it may be.
Right. That's very good point, Kara.
And we just got a question come in, I'm sorry, from Megan. How does the dining plan work if my child is under 3?
That's what I was going to say. We just got a great question. So the dining plan, you're only charged for 3 years and up, right? So if you're if you're age basically 2 point whatever, you are not charged for the dining plan. Does that mean they don't eat? No. They can eat off your plate. They can, you can get them something, but for the most part, that age is eating so little that my kids at that age always ate off of my plate or my husband's.
Right. Okay.
That's a good question.
Anything last minute that folks should know about, and when does this dining plan come out? Like, can I book a package January 1st and then tell my Tinks planner I want the January 1st because it's 2024. I want
January 9th, 2024. They're going to
start
the
check in January 9th or later to be.
You do, and I can tell you from experience quoting today, you can't check in January 8th and get it for the 9th and after. It has to be, your check-in date has to be the 9th.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Or later, obviously. Yeah.
Perfect. So I've added everybody's contact information at the bottom, and these 3 ladies and gentlemen would be more than happy to book your magical vacation with or without the dining plan, as well as anybody at Tinks. Does anybody have anything last minute that you think we did not touch on?
One thing I'll hit on too. I never like my clients to feel like these are decisions. I think we started to talk about this a little bit, and I just want to kind of reemphasize it. There's time, right? You can make this decision a little bit further down the road. I don't want any of my clients or anybody to ever feel like they are pressured to kind of have to make this decision right now, right on the spot. What's most important, I always say, is listen, let's get you on the books, right? Let's just figure out the perfect
At
place
the
for you, the
resort.
perfect time. Let's just get you booked on the Disney resort. We'll get everything, kind of put in place regards to when you're going, how long you're going, where you want to go, that kind of thing. And we can, I think, as all these ladies kind of chimed in, we can do a great job at then kind of working together to decide if the dining plan is right for you. Right. So sometimes I feel like when I immediately say dining plan, yes or no, I think that almost causes a little hesitation and slows the whole initial process down, because now they're thinking, I don't know if I need this or not. You don't have to make that decision day one. Right. So I would say let's talk about it, work at it together, and figure out if it's right. And we can add that a little bit later.
Nice. Perfect. And Nick, one of your clients, Matt, just came on and paid you the nicest compliment. There he is, Nick. He's been so helpful booking our cruise. So, Matt, we'd love to hear positive feedback and
Thanks, Matt.
hello to you this evening.
Yes. Welcome.
So thanks for joining us. Thanks to everybody who's chimed in. And thank you guys so much for taking the time this evening. And Nick, where can folks find your podcast regarding the dining plan and any other podcast?
Yeah, so the podcast is on. We have it on Apple Podcasts. We have it on Spotify. So those are the two hottest platforms, and we are on both of them. You're just gonna search for Tink's Magical Vacations Disney Podcast. That's it. Tink's Magical Vacations Disney Podcast on either one of those platforms. So you can use your iPhone, or if you've got an Android, you can go right into Spotify. You'll find it there. We're on season 2 now. I think we're about to drop episode 14 tomorrow of season 2, and it will be about the Disney dining plan. So a lot of the same information. It's a hot topic right now, but we're always coming out with new hot topics to talk about. So especially with all the changes for 2024 that are coming up. So if you're looking to stay informed, it's a perfect opportunity. Please absolutely check it out. Subscribe. You won't be disappointed.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us this evening, and we look forward to seeing you on our future lives. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.